concerning cotton. And whenever you say cotton, a lot of images come in front of you. Everybody has his own vision and version of what the cotton is, the way he is, the cotton he has worn, the cotton he would like to buy, and the cotton that you would like to see as you move forward. And the subject of discussion today is reinstating India's cotton competitiveness. How can India increase productivity and supply superior quality of cotton to the textile industry? So the first word is, when I saw this subject, I wondered, reinstating means, have we lost the competitiveness in our cotton trade? Have we lost what people say, the luster of your Indian cotton? The discussion on cotton has been taking place for the last 2 days. I think this is the third session I'm attending on cotton, either as a panelist or a moderator. And at each session, there has been a discussion on how the cotton progresses. So there are n number of cotton enthusiasts or supporters or lovers, if you like, of cotton. But then the question here is, India being a country, as the second largest supplier of cotton in the world, with a long history that goes back to cotton. There was a poll taken in the leadership summit of the US cotton, when they were there. And the question was, which is the civilization which started with cotton? The answer was obviously the Indus Valley civilization, of which all of us here have been a part or are a part. So therefore, cotton has all been a way of life, as they say in India. But yet, for some reasons, over a period of time, as the world modernizes, as technology takes over, as people change their living standards, their choices, the way they approach their fashion needs, clothing needs, cotton at somewhere down the line, perhaps been overtaken by other requirements which are part of the fashion, what shall I say, armory, if you like. So there you are, but here we are again with a galaxy of experts which represent the cotton value chain. Madam Padmini Singla is the Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Textile and spearheading the Fibres division. And I must tell you that she has been in the forefront. It is fortunate that she is in charge when the mission on cotton productivity has been inaugurated. This was something which the industry was looking on for a very long time, Madam. And we are very grateful to you and the government and the Honorable Minister and the Prime Minister for having finally inaugurated. And this cotton mission on productivity is different from what we have seen in the past. It has got a focus, and if you go through the document which is available, and some of us have been also part of the implementation team, you will see that there are a lot of specific goals and objectives which the government has set. So therefore, the cotton mission on productivity is going to be a very key, what shall I say, have a key role to play in reinstating the subject of today's discussion. Then we also have Mr. Dora Palanisamy. He's a Pallava Group Textile. He's also the chairman of SIMA, one of the key consumers of cotton, because the relationship between the ginners, farmers, and the spinners is a very, very unique relationship. So therefore, they always have their friends one day, and they're suddenly fighting with each other the next day, because they are the first ones to absorb the cotton which goes into the production of the cloth and the garments. So welcome, sir, in your presence here. We have Ms. Avita Orvi from the BCI, Better Cotton Initiative. And Better Cotton Initiative, I think you all know better than me what BCI means. It has got the largest membership from India, and about 20 to 25% of the farmers are registered with you. And BCI is actually a sort of a benchmark for sustainable production, or at least a certificate of BCI opens many doors for you as you go forward in the value chain. Thank you very much for being here. We have Ms. Alison Ward, the CEO of Cotton Connect, on a day when India and UK FTA has been operationalized. She's just about the most ideal person to have in a panel, because today is a big day for us and a big day, ma'am, for you as well on the other side, as you've been looking forward to the moment. Thank you very much. And Cotton Connect has been very closely associated. It is also known for its sustainable production initiatives and also helping farmers. And they have a very key role to play in the value chain as we move. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Then we have two other gentlemen. We have it's not Mr. Kavish Danda, Mr. I think, I'm sorry, I didn't have your name. From the Trident Group. And Trident is the largest consumer of cotton in India, one of the largest, and therefore, and they're a very big group. So and they're here today to spearhead the business end of the cotton, because we also have with us Mr. Manish Daga, the farm component of this panel. All India is one of the FPOs, farmer producer organizations, and is a very active and a very well-known person who has got a very modern approach to farming techniques, also in product and procurement and others. So I think with the introduction of this panel, I don't have to say much about cotton here, because most of you know what India's role has been, what role cotton has been playing in our national life, also in our economic system. So without wasting too much of our time, we'll have a small PPT which I will run after we have the opening remarks of Madam Padmini Singla. Ma'am, so we'll start with you kindly. Thank you.
Distinguished panelists, which represent the entire cotton textile value chain, leaders of cotton industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to stand before you today here and talk about the cotton competitiveness. And today we are discussing about the theme which is like absolutely the bedrock of textile sector as a whole. That is how to reinstate the cotton competitiveness. We know that our cotton sector is occupying the most strategic position in all the fibers that we talk about. And in the ministry, I am, as a JS Fibre, I am to attend to cotton, silk, wool, and jute, all the natural fibers. And now this mission on cotton productivity, we are talking of the 10 new age fibers. So we are also talking of the milkweed, sisal, hemp, bamboo, banana, pineapple, so all these fibers. So we have a lot to this entire natural fiber ecosystem, and where the cotton occupies the most important position, because we are supporting 6 million farmers, and then 6 million farmers directly, and then 50 million livelihoods. And our cotton acreage is largest in the world with 114 acres. But even with this acreage, our production is not largest in the world, because our productivity is less. And when we are talking about the competitiveness, then these are the two main things we would be talking about: the productivity and the quality. So our productivity is around 440 kg length per hectare, and the world average is 880, with China leading with 2000 kg length and the Brazil with 1800 kg length. So we have a lot to learn as far as the productivity part is concerned. So we had a peak, and after that peak, right now our entire production is like 290 lakh bales. And our consumption is 328 lakh bales. So there's a lot of gap between production and consumption. We used to be the net exporter of the cotton fiber, and now we have become the net importer by having our import to the tune of 47 lakh bales and export only 12 lakh bales. So this is the challenge. When Mr. Siddhartha was saying, are we to reinstate the things? Yes, we are to reinstate a few of the things. And when we talk about the quality, then world over the trash percentage is almost negligible, and contamination is also negligible, whereas in India, the market is trading around with the average trash of 3.5%. CCI takes 2.5% only, and when we make kasturi, then we are trying to have less than 2% as far as quality is concerned, but contamination is still a challenge for Indian cotton. Though our Indian cotton is otherwise very good as far as our softness, our luster, everything is concerned, because we are mostly rain-fed cotton producing. But then in the process, our farming practices requires a lot of improvement so that the cotton that is grown on the plant that remains the same quality remains when it comes at the fiber stage and subsequently the entire value chain, down the value chain. So we had the last technology mission way back in 2010. Thereafter, there was no government side intervention as far as cotton was concerned, and now in 2025, we have come out with the mission on cotton productivity, which you all might have heard of. So I thought it is an appropriate platform to give a little bit of details about the cotton productivity mission, which is a mission that is launched by the government with a total outlay of 5659.22 crores. And out of that, most of the, because as a textile ministry, I am the end user of the cotton, but it's the basic work is done by the agriculture ministry in the government. So most of the part of this cotton productivity mission would be, it's a joint, it's a whole of government approach. So it's one of the mission where 2 ministries and 3 departments are directly involved. So in agriculture department, it's Department of Agriculture Research and Education and the Department of Agriculture and the farmers welfare, they would be implementing the agriculture part of it. So whatever we heard of that, a lot of climate resilient varieties needs to come, the pink bollworm resistant varieties needs to come. So for all that, they would be working. And the mechanization is a huge challenge in our country because it's small and marginal farmers are there and it's a very less mechanization, whereas when we are talking of the countries of the world, then they are having so much of production. A lot of reason is the type of seed that they are using and the end-to-end mechanization which is giving them a quality cotton. So we are to take care of that. And this, when their department does that, their research work and all, and develop sort of best farming practices, then the role comes of the agriculture department, which would be scaling this entire cotton best farming practices to the field. So they have identified 140 districts in the entire country which are producing most of the cotton in the country, and they would be taking all these best farming practices to these 140 districts, and the focus would also be on the ELS cotton, because ELS cotton is very less in the country that we are producing, and so our focus will be more on the ELS fiber to be produced, which is having 32 plus mm. So now, then thereafter comes the role of the Ministry of Textiles, where we will be taking care of the quality aspect of the cotton, and for that the role of our ginners and our ginners and spinners, everybody comes in. And rather than giving the capital subsidy on the machinery and for the modernization, we thought of giving them the output-based support. So if they produce the kasturi grade cotton and the certification, etc., and this entire process is being taken care right now by the Tex process. So if they give us the kasturi grade cotton, then for every bale we would be giving them the financial incentive. So this is the model that the ministry has thought of in this mission on cotton productivity, as far as improving the quality aspect is concerned. At the same time, we would be giving the farmers, the Ministry of Agriculture would be giving the best farming practices to the farmers. At the same time, the Ministry of Textile would be giving the best industrial practices to the ginning factories. And just now we had a meeting with EBRAPA, that is Brazil Cotton Association, and they are going to have their technical workshop in Rajkot, where they would be working with few of our ginning factories and giving them the best practices. And we would also be training the workers of the ginning factories. We would be taking the entire textile value chain to the different countries which are giving the better quality than us, and exposing them to what is available in the best, what we can learn from them. And the first of such delegation we are planning to take to Brazil. So as Mr. Siddhartha was saying, that cotton is like absolutely at the center of the entire fiber security, and we are having a lot of knowledge session based around the cotton. And today morning, before this session, we had the India-US cotton partnership session, where also we talked about how we can learn from them and improve overall cotton scenario. So we have a lot of distinguished panelists here, so I'm very excited to learn from all of them how we can improve on the sustainability aspect. We have Cotton Connect, we have Better Cotton Initiative. We had one-to-one meeting with both of them yesterday. So. And they are working a lot with our Indian farmers, cotton farmers, and they have their own sustainability framework. And in Kasturi Cotton Bharat program also, we are trying to make it Kasturi Plus by having the sustainability standards also built in. So for that also we are working along with Textile to have that sustainability framework. So with these initial remarks, I would also like to listen to more of our panelists and the audience also, what they think of what better can be done about the cotton sector as a whole. Thank you so much.
Well, I think thank you very much, madam, for actually putting a context to this. But I'll run a quick PPT for you, which gives you some numbers and an idea what we are talking about and where we are heading in this session. So let me start off with this. Give you that. Good here. Use this. This is the one. Okay. So, okay, we come to straight to the point. The entire cotton effort, and I must tell you this, is the 5F inspiration of the Honorable Prime Minister. And this has now become almost, I mean, something like a, what shall I say, a mantra, where it is. Because what it says absolutely makes sense, in the sense that an integrated view of the textile industry, right from the farm to the foreign, through the I mean, going through fashion, factory, fiber, farm, all of them are critical elements in the supply chain that we have defined for ourselves. Now, that's the context in which, that is the framework in which policy making is taking place and the vision is being set, because this gives you an integrated view, and all of industry approach, just as government has an all of government approach to, you know, dealing with matters. So this is a very inspiring message, and this is where we are coming from. Then India's cotton opportunity scales. I mean, the point is the world's largest cotton acreage, whether it's 112 or 115, is a matter of semantics. Not, but then there you are the largest world acreage in cotton. So therefore, you have a stake in the cotton economy across 5 million tons of production. Well, yes, that is there. It was 6 million sometime back. It has come down. That is a fact that was reported everywhere. We saw that today in the other session as well. Second largest cotton consuming country. This is the important point. The consumption is more than the production. And that is why the issue comes up of imports. And that was raised today also. And there is a shortage. Our current estimates say 4 to 5 million bales of cotton is a shortage. It's not because you want to import, but because your cotton you're consuming yourself. And on this I must also tell you, well, the world, whenever you go to a textile session, they'll tell you MMF is 70% in the world, 30% is cotton. That is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at your own country is to say that out of the total cotton production, madam, 60% of that cotton is exported as fiber, as fabric, as garments, as home textiles. So 60% and about 40% is available in the domestic market. And therefore, Mr. Palniyappan is here. He will see that that is why the man-made fiber has taken over your domestic market completely. And cotton has become a niche product for export. The world looks at you for cotton even today. 60% of your garments, as I said earlier, are cotton-based. It's not because we don't go out to the MMA, but the world wants the cotton from you. So therefore, you have a presence in the world in your cotton. Close India's yield gap, well, that is a fact. We are at 424. This point has been made everywhere. The yields have gone down. That's what they say, correct? What reasons? Well, that is of the Commission on Cotton Productivity will also be addressing that. Sharing the shaping future, yes, we have a very ambitious target, $183 million to about $350 billion. So therefore, there is a huge leap of faith that is envisaged. On the domestic side, we have got about, out of 350, $250 billion is domestic and $100 billion of export. So as we are going now, considering the heavy headwinds that we are facing across the world, geostrategic, geopolitical, or supply chain disruptions, you can say what you want, but there is a slowdown in the momentum. But yet, thanks to the FTA, ma'am, with the UK, and hopefully US getting sorted out, EU coming around the corner, plus about half a dozen FTAs already signed, there is definitely a sign that tariffs will no more be an issue when you deal with textile export, because this is a low margin industry, as you know. 2 to 3% difference in tariff has made a difference in market access. So therefore, market share now being, market access being translated into market share. So all this will be translated into higher market share as we go forward. Now, producing countries which are anchoring India's supply, that's true. Major cotton growing, most of you might know. There's the North, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh on western side, Telangana, Andhra and Karnataka. Now, securing, this is the context of what is we are going to do. The challenges which might perhaps come your way. Fiber demand will rise as the textile market targets increases. That's a no-brainer. Yes, you will need more fiber. So currently 5 million metric tons. It needs to go at least up to 8 million metric tons, and that's what the cotton mission on product. At the same time, other fibers, because there is the other fibers also, the polyesters and the man-made fiber, which currently are about 13 million metric tons, must go to about 13 to 20, about another up to 18 to 20 million metric tons. So therefore, there is a huge leap there as well. Cotton consumption at 318 to 326 lakh bales, with production of 294 to 99, the consumption production gap, which is creating an issue, which is also leading to higher imports. Then priority is to secure a raw material. The question was, what do you do in future to safeguard against all these geostrategic disruptions? The best way to do is to try to be self-sufficient, so that you don't need too many supply chains to deal with. Buyers are increasingly requiring global compliance. That is also known. Sustainability has become a major standard on which you have to work, and quality consistency. That is why Kasturi has come in, where the quality standards have been put out. In fact, I would say that is among the very few cotton around the world where you come up and say, say, this is my quality parameter, and this is what I will achieve. I doubt whether even all the other cotton that you deal with put their quality considerations out up front and say, look, whether it's you're not comparing anybody with anybody else, but this is a very bold move, where you put out your quality parameters and give a shout out to the world and say, here we are going, and which means that you have a lot of confidence in your abilities and your ability to try and get those values internalized. So that's a very important thing. Traceability is becoming important, yes. Traceability is the first step towards sustainability that we are seeing. And on traceability, the Kasturi Cotton Program has put in a very robust traceability mechanism, which is on a blockchain, validated by a QR code, and with safeguards, internal safeguards which have been built. And now we have run it for 3 years, and by God's grace, we have run it successfully. There have not been any major glitches that we normally report. And simultaneously, we also have a general certificate of conformity for the non-Kasturi cotton, which is called the conventional cotton. That also from farm to the fashion, and that is up to the retail. Farmer information is being captured, because everybody was asked me whether your platform gives me farmer information. Farmer information is available on the Kasturi platform. Farmer information is available. Farmer information in the sense, the region, the latitude, longitude of the cotton growing area on a Google map will appear on the blockchain portal. So you will know where the cotton is originating. Now, if you say, give me the name of the farmer, his Aadhaar card number, and whether he pays income tax, well, we are not on that road as yet, because there are issues about digital, confidential security, etc. But we have been, but CCI has been able to even go further one step, and they are also capturing that kind of information. So there we are on the, well set on the road of traceability. Premium cotton Kasturi, as I mentioned, Madam mentioned it, this is a pivot of quality. This is actually going to be a central theme of the mission on cotton productivity. As you will see, the Indian government has put Kasturi at the center of its entire effort, that we would like to achieve those quality parameters. And those quality parameters have been announced well in advance. And that is not being said, you come out with, no, there is no, nobody is pushing you there. These are standards which we would expect people to adopt over a period of time and internalize. So therefore, nobody needs to stand outside your door and say, look, is your quality good? It is good, because I have internalized the values which are defining a good quality cotton. Quality traceability shift in Cotton from commodity to premium, Madam said, yes, we are moving towards that. There is the Kasturi and there is going to be a Kasturi Plus. And what Kasturi Plus will indicate, there are various ideas around the table. Hopefully, it will all be worked out and we will finalize, Madam. And therefore, these are the organizations which are the state partners and our sponsors. All these people have been using. We have got a separate presentation on Kasturi, but this is not the time to do it. But I must tell you, it's an initiative, it's a very bold initiative. Indian cotton being branded in the sense that you would like to tell the world that your cotton is amongst the premium cotton that they can. And we have tested it, companies have used it. There are Kasturi cotton garments being shown. Arvind has shown its Kasturi product. If you go to the Arvind stall, you will see it. Kasturi stall is there in this fair. Kindly go and have a look at the product lines which have been developed. There is some confidence which you can gain. And there is a premium attached to it. CCI is sitting here. There, if you go to their auction portal, conventional cotton of the same thing, it costs you so much of the price, and the conventional, the premium is there for Kasturi cotton, 1200 rupees or 14 rupees per candy, you get it. So therefore, there is a situation where premium is available. And there are a lot of other people who get more premium. They may not necessarily be going through the CCI route. They are private ginners who sell on their own. I know a lot of them. And they demand a very high premium, 2,500, 3,000 rupees. And they are getting it because the companies are buying, because it saves a lot of costs in the supply chain as we move forward from the spinning onward. So with a few words with the context set for this meeting. Now we'll just talk to our panelists, an eminent set of them, who will throw more light than what perhaps I've been able to do. And we'll by the end of the day, you'll get a good sense of the efforts to reinstate India's competitiveness. Alison, you're actually the toast of the day because the country has signed the UK agreement and we are all looking forward to this.
So congratulations. Yeah.
Ma'am, the first question goes to you. The Cotton Mission on Productivity, as you would have heard, aims to, raise the yield. One of the key questions before us, how to increase the yield per hectare, because there is a lot of pressure on the land with other food crops and others also competing. So therefore, there's a point here is that from about 441 kgs that we are today, we would like to go towards 755 kg per hectare. That is our ambition by 2031. So the question is the jump that would still leave India behind global. There is a view, you may jump there, but they are not jumping enough high, because there might be a gap. Because others are doing even better than you. So where do they leave you? So from Cotton Connect's point of view, your direct interaction with farmer level programs, experience across Indian cotton growing regions, is this target, to be very honest here, as we are having an open discussion, a realistic target? Are we able to achieve this on the current, what they say, level of seeds available, the irrigation infrastructure, and maybe the farming practices? So if you feel, do you get a sense that perhaps this is an over-ambitious effort, having been a slowdown that is there to leap towards that? Do you think it is what are your views on this, as I framed it?
So I think it's always good to set high ambitions, because you aim for a high goal. And I think, first of all, congratulations on the UK trade deal. It really puts you on par with your neighbours. And also we're seeing a real opportunity in, I'd almost call it nearshoring cotton, where we're seeing brands that want to buy cotton locally and they want to then manufacture it locally. And that's because we're seeing disruption in movements of goods around the world because of we've got conflicts, the carbon impact of moving cotton between countries. So there's a real opportunity for India. I think the good news is that already in our programs, we're seeing yield increase by almost 8% in terms of when we're training farmers, when we're putting in knowledge into farming groups. So I think we have tools, and we can see that can successfully happen. Obviously, it's a bigger leap, and I think you both referred to farmers make a choice, as we know, every season about what they grow, and there are other crops, and certainly quite often we'll meet a farmer, and if tomatoes have done really well the year before, they'll all grow tomatoes the next year. So it's really important that we give that information, and we've talked about the technology that we have to give farmers the information about crops, but we also need to ensure that farms are profitable. And we've also found in our work that profitability for farms can increase by up to 25% when we're training farmers. So that's really giving them the incentive to keep in cotton and dedicate more of their land to cotton as well. I think for us as a sector, there are some challenges. We've already talked about seed. We see that the seed has become resistant to pink bollworm, so that is an issue that, and obviously investment into seed is important. We also see in the gins, it's really important that there's an investment made in improving that gin technology. And congratulations also to Tex Brazil. The work you've done to set I'd say the guidelines are very stringent, and we've been fortunate this season to be able to meet your guidelines on some bales, on around 1,000 bales, but there have been some that have been rejected as well, and I think that's quite important that there is this high bar that you've set, and I think that will really drive the sector, and we can perhaps hear more from the manufacturing sector on that. So I think this is a joint effort, and it's about, we have knowledge, we know that we can improve yield, we know that we can have impact on profitability to keep farmers in cotton, but there's also some quite tricky questions around seed and around investment in ginning as well for us to tackle as a sector. But I think lots of opportunities.
Sure. You are wonderful. That's very nice. Thank you so much. Actually, this is an average, you know. We have seen in places where the productivity is high. There are isolated cases. You want to say something? Yes. Oh, go ahead. You add to this. We have another one for you.
Thank you. So thank you. I would just like to add to what Alison shared. So for Better Cotton Initiative, we work with around 800,000 farmers in India. And BCI cotton produce in India accounts for about 19% of cotton productions here. We already have data that farmers who produce under our standard, in average, the yield is 750 kilograms. So we are already there, and we believe we can go further. So we are already there, we can go further, and we are ready for it.
That's a round of applause. Wonderful there. That's what I said. It's an average, ma'am. Perhaps there is a case for making it 1,000, and you might increase your target the way you're getting a report here. But I'm sure, ma'am, I think it's something which is very good. And we are very happy to learn that. Now, a question to you as well. Now, India's cotton growing area appears to be shifting towards pulses. I don't know if it's correct or not. And oil seeds. There is a shift, that's what they say. And as farmers respond to better relative returns, you know, there's always this fluctuation in the cotton. Sometimes you get, sometimes you don't. And that MSP is there to protect as a backstop, but still, there is an issue there. So these volatile cotton prices and better cotton, are you, as BCI, are you seeing genuine, measurable erosion in cotton committed areas, acreage across? Are you seeing that? Because you're in the field, how do you see that? Or there is an enthusiasm that somebody can believe that cotton I should stay on because I will get something with, and I'll be able to, thanks to its supply chain role, I'll be able to get it. So what do you say? Do you see this shift?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. So, yes, you are very right. We are connected to farmers through our program partners, and we have a network of more than 2,500 field facilitators who are the extension workers working with the farmers in the communities. So what we can say based on the information we have and we receive is we can't see a general massive shift away from the cotton. Cotton remains still very important crop for the farmers. It's one of the most important, if not the most important, cash crop that brings injection of cash to farmers and helps them to address some of the household issues or hopefully some saving and investment. However, we did see some localized shifts. Now, when farmers are making, say crop choices every year, it's a complex mathematics, right? They are looking at different criteria, they are looking at different elements. The price of the crop is one of the elements they are looking, but it's not the only. They are looking at access to the market, they are looking at availability seed, they are looking at the soil health, they are looking at the water availability, water of soil. So yes, we have seen some shifts, but we are also seeing some shifts back. To give you an example, some of our farmers in Maharashtra, last year they decided maize is the crop, and they planted crops. But then they face a pest problem, and they suddenly realized that actually cotton is perhaps more resistant crop to pests compared to maize. So to conclude, we see some localized shift, not a major shift, and cotton continue being very important for farmers here.
So that's very good news. I mean, it's very encouraging to note this, that there is not been, even in the US, the other day we were attending, their production had come down because a lot of people had fled to other crops and maize and other things, soya and things. So anyway, that's very nice to see. Localized, you'll have fluctuations on the local side, that is quite understandable. So depending on the experience, do you think it's a season to season kind of an approach, or are you long-term commitment? This season I didn't get good money, I mean, get out of it. How does it look?
Yeah, so one of the things that also influence the crop choices is actually regenerative practice that we really promote, which is the crop rotation. So again, locally in some location, because we promote crop rotation, and actually farmers here in India take it quite seriously, we do see that in some location this year it's less cotton production because they are on the cycle of non-cotton, but they will come back to it, and that's what we are observing. But again, it's a complex mathematics, and every year farmers are making the choices that they believe are best for them.
I think I will come to a general cluster question between the two of you, both Ms. Alison Ward and the questions are very important in the sense that when you're talking of sustainability, traceability programs, is farmer adoption of better practice actually being held back more by economics? But there is a cost element. We've seen that even in Kasturi. There is a cost element. People say, I have to spend some extra money to kind of take the safeguards that you have prescribed for me. I have to keep it, so labor, storage, etc., packing. So those are important things. Or then we say here that actually being held because of economics, the returns available from doing this, making it sustainable and conventional. Are the returns really there for you to sort of support sustainable activity? Well, compared to a conventional crop, I just grow my crop, go to the mandi, sell it off and go home. Here sustainable you want, you ask me to do so many things. Am I still getting that price, which I probably should be getting? Alison?
Yeah, so I think for farmers, when we work with them, we get a really positive response because quite often they're saying we're going back to how we used to farm. So these are the farming practices of our forefathers. And I think especially the women, the work with the women, and congratulations to BCI on the work with women that we saw earlier in the awards. When we educate the women, we really find quite a difference. And there's a woman who I met, Kumidaben Tanvi in Gujarat, who I met a couple of years ago. When she's one of our climate change ambassadors, and once we gave her the information, she then really began to contribute to the farm. So it wasn't an additional cost to her. Her farm became more effective. And then she began to work alongside her husband. But also, I think for me, perhaps one of the most compelling points was that she then said, I'm more confident, I have better status in the village, and I can talk to you and present to you. So for me, there is obviously costs which for us are borne by the brands, but for the farmers, it's really a net benefit. It's not costing them more, they're reducing their fertilizer imports by 15-20%, so they're saving money. They feel healthier because there's less pesticide going into the soil. And you've got this bigger confidence in the village about agronomy and understanding the crop. So, and I think as you talked about, that you've then got the intercropping that's really giving an additional income benefit for the farmers. So I think for the farmers, it's a net benefit. I think there is a cost there on training that is for for the sector. Yeah.
So in BCI and also BCI standard is based on holistic understanding of what sustainability is. We do believe in 3 pillars of sustainability. So it's the environmental, it's social, and it's economics. So we believe you can only have something sustainable if you can protect the planet, if you can protect the people, and if you can make profit. So we always look at new practices or regenerative practices, but we also look at, are the farmers going to be still profitable? Are they able to generate income to support their families? And then when it comes to the practice adoption, they look at different practices. Some of them require some investment. So, for example, one of the practices we are promoting is intercropping. Now, when you decide to intercropping, you are starting thinking about wildlife damage. Are you able, as a farmer, to protect your crops from that? Are you able to put up fences that minimize the damage? So if you're a little bit better off, you will put up the fences. If you are not, possibly you are not going to adopt this practice. There are, however, some practices that are really more about change of behavior, necessarily not investment. But for change of behavior, farmers need to see examples. They need to see it works. You know, farmers are, I see, I believe. And that's why our work consists of working with them, extension services, setting up the demo plot, working with the lead farmers that can demonstrate that these new practices work and they are not at the cost of losing of profit.
Well said. I think there you are. There is an issue. You have to balance between the sustainability needs as well as the cost consideration. We bring to change the conversation, sir. We come to Pallava Textiles, and sir, you were at the forefront of the leadership in the spinning industry. And you're also very closely watching the balance that we strike between the minimum support price on the one hand, and also the fact that CCI also has some procurement buffer stock. Many a times you've seen this call that, look, why don't they sell it at prices which, are competitive. So the question here is, how does a mill like yours manage this conflict of the cotton fluctuation? CCI on the one hand with an MSP, CCI price, procurement, and the prices, domestic prices also, at times not reaching the MSP level. So you have that situation. Sometimes they exceed, many a times they probably, they exceed instead of being lower. So how do you deal with that? Prices higher than MSP, so MSP doesn't come into operation. Buffer stocks at the same time built by CCI on account of their MSP procurement, and the needs of the supply chain, that is your company, and its costing structure, or you would have had a costing structure. So how do you take all these things together and survive in the marketplace? That is a question, an important question.
Thank you, Mr. Siddharth. Again, it's not just for our company, it's an industry challenge. Well, I would like to say there's two issues. One, we are talking about an issue with the agricultural industry, and again, we are trying to connect the challenges of the textile industry. I wish it can be, seen as two different subjects. One, cotton as a commodity is an end product from the agriculture industry, and then while the cotton again becomes a raw material for the textile industry, which is very important. For an industry to thrive, especially when we are talking about $350 billion of textile economy, we need to have a very good competitive raw material. And India is a cotton-centric country. Our strength is the cotton value chain. So we need to have a very competitive raw material for the textile industry. And on the other hand, for the agriculture farmers, our Indian farmers are very smaller in size. It is essentially important to have a very good price support for the farmer to survive. I think the government is doing is a great job of supporting the farmers with the minimum support price as and when it is required. So the CCI comes into operation when the farmer needs it. While on the other side, but then we are also talking about minimum support price to support the farmer, but then we also need to support the farmer on improving their yield. We are all talking about it, right? Like, the other panelists also mentioned seed is a very important. Whatever we sow is what we reap. So a very good seed is required and, to improve the productivity. These challenges had to be managed by the industry. If it can be de-linked and say the industry is free to take whatever cotton that the industry wants, because today we are talking about FTAs with, many countries. There are nominations where the product is required to be used with a certain specific cotton, say for example, contamination-free cotton or a CMIA cotton, which is not available in India, right? So the industry should be free to have access to these kind of cotton. Again, the industry is very mature to manage these things right now, but finds it difficult, often. So this duty-free window period is one opportunity where the industry is trying to de-risk by, getting cotton maybe imported. So these are my observations.
So, the fight goes on. Maybe we try to find some kind of a
See,
medium
I
between
wouldn't
all
say
these
this is
parts.
a fight. I think it's two different interests which has to be managed separately.
Thank you very much, sir. That's very encouraging. We come to Daga Sahab. Actually, we should have started the first question with you. You represent the farmers, and we went on the reverse order. But anyway, sir, thanks for being here. And he's one of the most dynamic people you can meet in the with his FPO, and he's really got very clear ideas on how things should be, things should evolve. So, Daga Sahab, the point is about the imports. Now, I saw some post of yours where be careful and don't take this, that, the farmers, the yield will go up and the imports will come down. So there you are. The imports from Brazil are coming. Even the Americans are worried. When I went into their session, they were looking at how they were comparing themselves with the Brazilians. And the Brazilians had overtaken them because the price was more competitive what the Americans were offering. So they themselves were benchmarking US cotton with Brazilian cotton to try and capture the market. So there you are, you have a story there. But now with you, sir, now imports taking place in India, this issue has come up. And the Americans are here to push the Brazilians here. Madam went for a session with them. They are here aggressively. They got an Indian consultant to push their case. Everything is going on. And therefore what happens is that Brazilian cotton is being preferred. People are buying and people are flocking there. And also to the US, when I went to that leadership summit, the who's who of the textile industry was present. So the point here is, sir, imports as they take place, what we understand is the gap between the production and the consumption. There was a time 5 years ago when the production and the consumption were by and large squaring off. But now what is happening, as we saw here, the consumption is much higher than the production. So what do we do? In any situation like this, when there is a high demand, imports are a natural consequence. That's what they do to balance the price, part of the economic theory. So sir, do you see this as a threat towards the fact that it is going to hit your farm gate prices? But ultimately the fight is for the price. That's why the MSP is there, as a protective gear. So how do you see? Will imports really hurt your farm gate prices, or we have to import because we need it as the consumption is going up? So what are your views on that? So point here is that it's the picture is a little more nuanced. It's not a yes or no, either or. So how do you look at it as from a farmer perspective? Because the first voice comes from the farm end. When the import duty is removed, somebody stands up somewhere and says something, and then the whole world says, be careful, be careful. And then we lose out opportunities in business. So how do you take that on, sir?
Thank you, Siddharth ji, for being so descriptive. And thank you, the organizers, for giving farmers representative a chance to share views on this elite panel with the policy makers also on the dais. And while I speak a farmer's perspective, I have full recognition that it is the industry and the farmer which have to move together, which have to grow together if the Indian cotton and textile industry has to succeed. And yes, the result is mixed, as you said, mixed in the sense that for farmers, it comes as a little shocking news and makes him little apprehensive when the import duty is announced just before the sowing period or just before the harvest period. Because that is when he has to decide for his whole season's income, expenditure, activity. So that is a little bit more apprehensive period for him when everybody says that once the import duty is over, the prices are going to fall. So do I sow that much cotton which I had planned? And what happens to my harvested cotton is the two things. Most of the times, if it comes during an off-season period, the farmers are less hit because the smallholder farmers normally sell within the first 2 months of the harvest. It is the traders and the large farmers which then, face the music, whatever, benefit or loss. Here, I wish to say one more thing, that what we should be looking at, has India really developed a farm gate policy, which will empower the farmers to be graders, processors, storage managers, and even suppliers of cotton, so that it doesn't hit them directly as a producer, because there is a ginner above him, there's a trader above him, there's a broker above him, and the spinning mill is too far off. He must have never visited a spinning mill in his life. So can that farmer be given that opportunity through a farm gate policy that we can frame, so which gives him at least a choice if he wants to value add. Second thing, import is the issue, but not the major issue. What I feel that the major issue should be, has the policy come with some deliberation, with all the stakeholders, because yes, mills are definitely the stakeholder, they are the direct beneficiaries, but also the producing associations where they taken into confidence. That would bring, more positive outcome to any announcement that is made, and less apprehension among the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Why I asked, this was the first time I probably heard the argument that don't allow import because the sowing season, something which one has not really heard. And then when you heard the earlier panelists, whether people are shifting away from cotton to other crops, they said no, cotton is a cash crop and there is some stake there, apart from localized effort. So when you make that national call, I was wondering how really the question of import duty and sowing season get connected. Number two, if you see imports as a percentage of production, what does the figure show? It's about 40 million bales out of a production size of, whether it's you take 290 or 320 or whatever you want to take. It's not much, about 10 to 15% of broad imports take place, which is, I think, quite natural in any kind of economic system. So again, I suppose the point is well taken. You have to be very careful when we make the announcement, because by the time you make the announcement, you have an import duty removed when the off-season is in place. You have a import duty call not to be given when the sowing season is there. So there are a lot of, as you would see, a lot of caveats attached to a policy measure. But anyway, sir, good. Thank you for your views. Now we come to what from Satish ji must come to you, and the question before you is that how do you plan your cotton procurement? Because आपका consumption बहुत है. For 12 months, आप consumption. We heard in the earlier session that if you have this on and off policy, हम plan कैसे कर सकते हैं? How do we do long term planning? अब ये on off होता है तो मुश्किल होता है, because cycle of production है, and उसको हम कैसे meet करेंगे? So आपके तरफ से ये question है, how do you really balance this? The point is there is the degree of policy volatility that you are seeing. Policy में change है, or you are probably recognizing that ये policy volatility रहने वाली है, तो हमारे जो plans हैं वो shorter season के लिए, shorter term के लिए हो. Whether you reduce your approach to your planning, or you probably have a situation where you take it in your stride and plan for the best or the worst, if you like.
So good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for giving us a chance to speak over here. First of all, I will say that having been responsible for the responsible cotton sourcing of more than 1 million bales for our group. These volatility and uncertainty with respect to MSP, with respect to the import duties, with respect to the CCI cotton releases, we should not worry about that. But now more worrisome question which is hitting our industry is the tariffs, the war issues, the currency volatility, the freight cost, and supply chain lead times, and of course the energy tariffs, energy security. These are the issues which are hitting us, which are more worrisome. Because for any spinning mill doesn't plan cotton sourcing for 12 months, depending upon the fund availability, depending upon their working capital constraints. Generally, I will say 60 to 120 days or maximum 90 to 120 days are planned cotton which has to be available in their spinning mill for continuity of their operations and making the required quality. Whatever imports are being undertaken, that is not to, we can say, price arbitrage, with price arbitrage expectations, but with a target to receive better quality in a particular time of requirements. So, as far as we are concerned, and my suggestion is, one should build as a procurement officer, as a procurement head, we should build a scalable sourcing strategy that should handle this heat of volatility and uncertainty during the course of the buying period, during the course of the availability, and during the course of the season throughout 1 year. So that should be more resilient, more we can say comprehensive, and more agile, and that should be taken care of.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, sure. I think there has to be some kind of a policy stability. But okay, but how does your company respond? You're buying it as robust as it always was, या आप cotton से निकल के थोड़े दूसरे fiber में चले गए?
See, looking to our end product, which is towel and bed sheeting.
Correct.
So we are more inclined to cotton only.
Right.
And other fibers doesn't work in this two end products, neither in towel, neither in bed sheeting. So our 95% of the total consumption out of our 1 million bales is for cotton only. Correct. That may be Indian cotton, that may be imported cotton, that depends upon the prices, quality, availability, and the timings against which we require cotton.
I have one more question as follow. Price shocks when they come, how do you adjust it? As a company, you absorb it yourself, or you pass it on to your buyers, or there is a mechanism in place to get around this? How do you really see that? As a big company, you're a big company with a big stake, so you can perhaps adjust the prices.
See, it's a very big question. It is very difficult to pass on the price increase to the buyers.
Correct.
But whenever there is a price decrease, we have to pass something to our buyers.
Increase and decrease you pass, and so it works. It doesn't work both ways.
Every stock price. That is why every stock price available with us is already known to our buyer. That what stock our cotton is lying in our plant. So this is the type of strategy which is adopted with the long-term and regular buyers for both in towel as well as bed sheets.
So there is long-term policy has to be there.
Yeah.
Will help them to stabilize it. Well taken, sir. Point very well taken. So now question to the three of our people, two from the industry and one from the farm. A cluster question as they put here. Now the cluster question is like this. Now across the industry and farm facing perspective, there are two perspectives, the farm says and the industry looks for it. Is there a shared view on whether India's current cotton price support architecture, it's very well framed, this question. MSP is there, CCI procurement is there, periodic import duty adjustment is taken. So these are the three elements that you are seeing over a period of time now. Is actually working as intended. Or does each side of the value chain see a different unresolved problem with it? Is there a solution which the three stakeholders find in this architecture? Or some fellow feels, no, this unresolved, it doesn't meet the what, so therefore there is a conflict. There is an inherent conflict built into the architecture that we have created for ourselves in this country. So how do the three of you react between this policy architecture which has come? So maybe the industry first, then the farm has the last word.
See, definitely there is a conflict of interest when we see, sector-wise. But then the government takes a final call, which needs more attention. So the government gives the duty-free window when there is when the procurement has been completed, and then the industry can take advantage. And naturally, the CCI is also supporting as and when required, whether it's for the farmer or for the industry. So I think CCI is playing a very balanced role in the situation. I think that is again is what the government is also intending to do. Although from the industry perspective, we would say give industry the more freedom for choices, but then farmers' interest is also need to be taken care.
Okay. And what about Trident? Satish ji, aap bataiye.
Sir, in case of whatever decisions are taken by the government, those are of course taken with the help of all stakeholders only. It is not only government is taking all decisions to fix up the import, free import duty, or removing import duty, or adding import duty. Whenever there is a season from October to April, enough cotton is available to the industry. So there is no need to remove the import duty, because enough cotton is available in our country. It is available to the industry also. It is a balance availability is being taken care by Cotton Corporation India to help the farmers. And whenever there is a lean period, the availability from the market comes down, the balanced demand is taken care by the imports, and that is what I am.
If I can just add to what Mr. Satish said, see, during the harvesting season, there's sufficient quantity of cotton that is available, but then there is also certain quality of cotton that is not available in the country, particularly, say, for example, contamination-free cotton, which we do not have in India. So I think the government can think of a mechanism to allow a certain quality of cotton, so that, because it is not competing with the Indian crop. So that's something that, since JS Fibre is also here, I thought, I'll bring this point.
In this case, I will further add to it that in case of long staple cotton, which is 32 millimeter plus, government in any case has already allowed duty-free imports for whole year. So I agree with Balasanmi ji that if something special, some special cotton is required to be, which is not available in India, that should also be taken care of. That should also be a part of the whole season free import duty.
Because that is going to support our export value chain, which is very critical.
Ji. So nice to hear the view of the industry. It is very relevant because everything depends on how the industry runs. But just sharing the farmer's perspective, yes, MSP is very, very important. But I must say it is not a sustainable solution. For farmers who are growing cotton, as we have seen over the years, in the last 5 years, we have seen 4 years of MSP operations, which has never happened before. Previously, it was normally with a gap of 5 to 7 years that MSP operations came into the picture, but now we are seeing that more often, which is a concern. Concern because MSP takes care of the price. It is a very strong safety net. If there was no MSP, most of the farmers and all of the smallholder farmers would have been in a great distress. So it is a savior in that sense, definitely. But MSP, if it does not take care of productivity, depleting soils, reducing soil nutriency that we are seeing, then there is a gap which is being created between Indian prices and international prices. That is where the industry voice we can hear now more loudly, that what we want is cotton when we need and cotton at what price we need. So the gap has to be filled, that productivity has to come into the picture with MSP. If MSP has to really succeed and be sustainable for us all. Otherwise, farmers will keep on asking for more MSP, industry will keep on asking for more policy decisions which favor more imports, and government will be little bit in a jeopardy. CCI will keep on procuring. We must, whatever said about CCI, it is less because the way they have managed the situation in the last 4 years is extraordinary. And it has been a huge support for farmers as well as a reserve bank for the industry, but the solution lies somewhere in between. That is where I feel. We must become price competitive, we must become quality competitive, and then there will be not so much friction between the growers and the processors.
So wonderful. I think you're right. CCI, of course, has been a backbone, and without them, things would have been different. They're really doing a very good work in terms of supporting the farmers, running a very, very complicated system. It's not easy to run and deal with so many people across the rural, landscape. So, point 20.
Quality improvement has also happened now.
Quality also is?
Quality has substantially improved.
They also look at that. So coming to quality, one last question perhaps, or maybe the second last, then we'll take the trick. Now, this concept of second picking, third picking, so I understand that is something very unusual to India. Other countries don't have that, because when you say the quality of the cotton is not good. So somebody told me that, okay, the first picking is done, then I put a little more nitrogen or something in to make the plant grow a little, and then get the second pick, and then the third. So how does it work? Do you think is this the reason why we are not able to get, because first picking cotton is very good. Second, third picking, the cotton quality is bad. Then when you average out the whole cotton production, you say the quality is quite bad, it's not very good. So how do you handle it? It goes for both of you as well, because you're dealing with farms and they are dealing.
I'll just take a minute and then Alison can take over. Yeah, because in India what we grow is a hybrid variety of cotton which gives multiple pickings. In one of the experiments in Aurangabad, we have taken up to 9 pickings. Oh. We kept that cotton for 9 months and we have taken 9 pickings out of the plant. So we just wanted to see how we can optimize. I mean, is it possible to take more than 3 pickings? But normally it is 2 pickings and sometimes it is 3 pickings depending on late season rain. Outside India is high density plantation. Only one time harvesting happens through a mechanical process. That's why we see where, Pallava issue and Trident issue can be addressed here is contamination. Do we take effort to educate the farmers? First picking, you keep separately, stores separately, second picking separately, third picking separately, because the quality is slightly different, the maturity is slightly different, even the trash in the third picking is higher. So unless, that education is given and some amount of effort is done by the industry, contamination control cotton is definitely possible within India. Whatever endeavor is, make Indian cotton more competitive so that import becomes less lucrative. So that is where, but the pickings are very indigenous to India, because more pickings are taken only for these type of hybrid varieties. Thank you.
So the high density plantation should perhaps ensure that you get everything in one picking. Don't need to do 2 or 3 pickings. And that of course is part of the mission on cotton productivity in a big way. They're going to work on that. Yes, Satish ji, bataiye.
Because India have very small land holdings. We have more than 5 million farmers, and hardly we have 11.5 million hectares under cotton cultivation. So slightly more than 2 hectares per farmer comes as a land which is used for cotton cultivation. So it requires very mass level of education to farmers with regard to best management practices as far as cotton sowing is concerned. So otherwise, farmers, what farmers do? Small farmers, they as per their financial constraint, they keep on selling their produce on a regular basis. First picking, then second picking, then third picking, and they are over. And large farmers, they do first picking, second picking, third picking. Up to third picking, it is good. But because nutrition to plant stops after third picking, so whatever balls are there, they are sometimes immature or premature busting is there. That is a immature fibers, because length formation in cotton fiber formation, length forms first, maturity comes later, because cellulose layer thickening becomes later. When nutrition to plants stops, then that cellulose layer thickening is not there, and that is low quality. Big farmers, they mix all their produce, then they start bringing to their produce to the market. So that creates issue, and that cannot be avoided. If best management practices are through extension education department, through universities, respective universities are given to the farmers, then not only quality will improve, but it will help us to increase the yield also. This is the, I will share with you a live example. When Punjab cotton was used to be 26 lakh hectares, it suddenly went down to 3 or 4 lakh hectares. And Mr. S.P. Oswal in Bardhaman and Trident and Nahar, 3-4 mills joined together and started a village cluster adoption program in north. With that village cluster adoption program, the yield again went from 4 lakh hectare to 26 lakh hectares. And the first village we adopted, Dr. Abdul Kalam Azad, he himself came to felicitate the village cluster adoption players as well as the farmers of that village, how their yield could go increase. If that could happen in a small area with this type of education, by personally visiting to the farmers and providing them best management practices with the help of local extension education department or local Punjab Agriculture Universities professionals. So that can happen in other areas also.
Okay, I understand the point. And quickly, I think to you, BCI, do you encourage 2 pickings, 3 pickings, or 1 picking?
So so I just want to say that we talk a lot of farmers, right? But we also know that harvest of cotton in India is labor intensive and it's done by the workers. So what we do under BCI program is not only support farmers, but we also do a lot of training for the workers, for the laborers directly, because they are the one who pick the cotton. So we are supporting to understand how to pick the cotton, what are the good practices, and we also work with the farmers on post-harvest handling of the cotton. So I have actually my team here, maybe they would answer directly the question if we support 2 or 3 pickings. I think it's happening, but we support farmers throughout all the stages.
And Cotton Connect, how do you look at it?
So I think, as we've talked about, knowledge is power, and we know that the first picking, the farmers get more money for that when they can negotiate. So, and it's in the BCI program as well. We actually teach farmers to understand more about their staple length, so they can begin to themselves understand how much money perhaps they can negotiate with the gin as they go into purchasing. And I think, you know, we know that there are garments and that will take that third cotton, and wherever it's handpicked around the world, and some of your neighbours also do handpicking, you do get those 3 cycles. But I think it's about the segregation we've heard about, but also really giving farmers that knowledge that they can get a better income if they segregate, and they do that. They do sort of cleaner picking, and again, we've done some work with Tex Brazil on the cleaner picking technique. So we have the knowledge as a sector, and it's great to hear about your cluster that you initiated. It's about how we bring this together to really meet your goals and the ambitious goals of trade for India, to sort of take India to the next elevation. So we have a lot of knowledge here that we can share. Absolutely.
I think we have covered a wide range of issues concerning cotton. I think we also been running out of time. I think it's getting late in the evening. But is there anybody in the audience? Yeah, one or two questions, please. Rest we can take offline. Yeah, बताइए आप, please.
Salil Chawla, DF2 publication. I don't need mic maybe. Okay, thank you. I'm Salil Chawla, DF2 publication. My question is to Dr. Siddhartha ji. In your presentation, you alluded that the leap of faith is there to reach out to 350 billion. Yes, certainly, yes. And thereabouts of 100 billion as the textile ministry envisaged that should be on the exports front. The question I need to ask you, here and now, what is the situation of Kasturi cotton on the fiber landscape share today? And when we hit 100 billion or 350 billion, where do you see that Kasturi cotton, so-called our premium proud cotton, indigenous textile brand India will reach up to? Thank you so much.
Would you like to, ma'am, answer this? Shall I say? No, see, look, I think you should read the document on cotton and mission productivity. I think if you read that, the ambitious targets have been set. I think in my own lifetime, I've never seen government push the industry, the farm, the ginner to levels which are of excellence, for which the government is willing to help out. Somebody said incentive, whatever. They are willing to give support. So there is an absolute clear path now available. The role of the ginners, the farmers, how we take care of them, the ginners, how we take care of them, the spinner and the ginner getting together, and the ginners being rated in terms of their efficiencies, the support that they may want, the machinery they may require. All these have been mapped out quite well. So ma'am will probably put in a word or two more than I have.
He wanted the precise number, so let me give him the precise number. So it's 1 lakh, 133 lakh bales that we have decided that we should be producing at least of the Kasturi cotton in the period of next 5 years that we have thought of the mission to be.
So 13.3 million bales.
Sorry, sir.
13.3 million bales out of a total production target of 498 lakh bales. Almost 50 million bales, and out of it 13.5, so 3 million.
Yeah,
Take the percentage.
yeah. So it's not that we would be restricting ourselves to this only, but this is the minimum target that we have set, and definitely when it's more of a demonstration effect when the farmers would be doing it. So many would be reaching the Kasturi standards, many would be reaching somewhere in between, not to the level where they are right now, and maybe not to the level of Kasturi, but maybe something plus. And somebody might be more than Kasturi also, Kasturi plus. So, yeah.
So you can do the math and see how it looks. Yeah, come on.
Rajiv Barwa from Beetle Region Solutions. Ma'am, I have just 2 points to make. One is that with the ambitious plan of HDPS and close spacing to increase productivity, which is really outstanding, I think we do need to look at revival of the public sector seed chain. Because today, the seed market, last figures I know, is around 2,500 crores, which is a huge amount of money, and we need far more seeds per hectare. So we do have excellent germplasm sitting in our universities and research stations. How do we bring out, how do we strengthen the public sector seed chain? And the other point which is really important is that the countries you mentioned about, which have far higher yields, you mentioned Brazil, nobody uses hybrids. Hybrids is very, very peculiar to India. To some extent, it is recurring value capture for seed companies. I'm not trying to blame anybody or anything here. So I think, and the other important point from a sustainability perspective, if you look at any of the packager practices, the fertilizer requirements and water requirements of an open pollinated straight line variety is at least 25% lower. So when we talk sustainability, hybrids are actually not sustainable. And today, it's not just BT, everything is hybrids. And other countries have genetically modified cotton, but they're not necessarily in hybrids. So I think this is something I would request you, ma'am. How do we revive the public sector seed chain? Because seed demand is going to go up. Seed quantity to produce a hybrid seed is far more expensive. There are allegations of child labor involved in seed production. How do we move to producing open pollinated lines, which is not difficult at all for a country like ours. So I just wanted to say
So
that.
your point is noted, and you give me a note about it, and I'll pass it on to the concerned ministry, because as a Ministry of Textile, we don't take care of the seeds directly, but definitely the mission on cotton productivity is our joint mission, so whatever point you are making, if you give it to us in writing, we will pass it on. And you may directly also get in touch with the Ministry of Agriculture. It's not that through me only. You can always write to them directly, and if you write to me, I'll also pass it on. Thank you.
Evelyn, just a quick question. When you mentioned about 750 kilos of yield, do you mean seed cotton or lint cotton?
So if I can take the question, it's to ma'am, Ms. Singhal ma'am. So when you're talking about Kasturi Plus, so what's the value addition and how it's going to change the scene, you know?
What,
No,
like,
your-
what are
your
the
ex-
standards of Kasturi
Yeah,
you want to
for
ask?
Kasturi Plus.
Yeah.
And when are you going to implement them by which
No,
year?
Kasturi is already implemented
No,
since
Kasturi Plus,
2023.
yeah, that's there.
Yeah, Kasturi Plus, like I was talking about that Kasturi is right now the standards on the quality only, right? So we are thinking of building in the sustainability part also in the Kasturi, because right now all the retail brands throughout the world are talking of the sustainability aspect, and both are, my left and right are like working on the sustainability and circularity aspect of the Cotton Connect also and BCI. So they have their own sustainability standards which they are propagating in the fields. So taking their framework and whatever best practices are there in the world, so we are trying to have our own sustainability framework, and which we may link with Kasturi, and then we would be taking their expertise and their experience of working with farmers to educate them and build that framework in the, build that thing into the Kasturi. We are working on that. So I didn't say that it's already done, but we are definitely working on those lines, yeah.
I suppose that's about it. Thank you very much for being a very patient audience. I hope it, and thanks to our panelists.
Siddharji, just I wanted to say
from the farm. That's what I'm saying. The last word from the farm. Because cotton is a farm product.
No, because everything, I think the panelists were really amazed. Everything was directed at Singhal madam and very relevant and pertinent suggestions and questions. Only one thing, madam, what we feel that policies should not be farmer-centric, should not be industry-centric, but should be growth-centric, should be partnership-centric, should be productivity-centric. And we are seeing that change since last few years. Thanks to people like you who have taken keen interest. And just for the textile industry, I want to congratulate everybody who is into cotton and the textile industry. You are in a great industry, be proud of it. And खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर सौदे से पहले बायर खुद एक इंडियन कॉटन ग्रोवर, प्रोड्यूसर या एक्सपोर्टर को पूछे, बोल तेरी रजा क्या है?
Wow. Wonderful. That's a very nice way to end this. Before we end, ma'am, with your permission, we've got 3 MOUs to sign with people here, Cotton Connect, BCI, and NSL Textile. So in your presence, ma'am, we will have the signature. So let's start with Cotton Connect, and kindly wait for another 5 minutes. There's an MOU. All objective is to put sustainable production in place. And with 2 giants sitting around here, Cotton Connect, who have been very closely working with our farms. So we would like this to do. We'll start with Cotton Connect first. Ma'am, Alyssa ma'am, with your permission. sector and work with their farmer very closely, and also the best practices to be put in place so that we get this. Thank you very much, Bharat. The next is with BCI.